Hi, good day to everybody. I'm your host, Angela. We're going to run through a few demos and questions today. I'll introduce the team. I guess you're all here because you've read in the news lately that Skynet has taken over. No, it hasn't, but artificial intelligence is no longer a future initiative or a lab experiment. And so that's why we're here today, is we want to show you a little bit more about AI, or what we call Atlassian Intelligence. Today with me, we have T, or Tisetso Monetisa from Obsidian Systems. He is one of our Atlassian consultants and works predominantly in the fintech space. Along with him, his colleague Tarun Singh, who's also a consultant and consults out to our clients as well. And Nicholas, who's recently joined us, is helping us refine a whole bunch of processes and internal efficiencies around Atlassian for Obsidian Systems. And they're going to show you a little bit about what they're working on. It's a real live demo situation, guys. It might not be perfect, so bear with us, but we really wanted to show you what the possibilities are of Atlassian Intelligence and how it works. So I think just from an objective perspective, we'd love to show you some practical real-world cases and help you understand just a little bit about how we deal with data privacy, security, and governance in some of these considerations. So we're going to kick it off. And some of the problems that we're going to be solving today is not how AI can almost remove jobs or help companies become more efficient, but how it actually is going to help teams. So it's not about how can we get rid of people? I think that's one of the biggest fears, but it's really more about how we're going to gain more efficiencies for our people and make life better for everyone. So I just wanted to start off by saying we wanted to take a day in the life of an executive and say, how does AI actually make your lives a little bit better? So as an executive, as I wake up in the morning, I don't know what you do, but the first thing I do is check my calendar. My calendar is the thing that rules my life for the day. And we always want to make sure that we're getting everything that we need today. But calendars can be super complex. And so T is going to show us a few efficiencies of how we at Obsidian are trying to help our teams get better at managing their calendars, managing their time, and also helping our teams that provide services become more efficient. So T, kicking off with you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I will basically show you how to solve the Angela issue where you need to basically understand what's going to happen in your calendar and maybe also find a way to integrate it along your Atlassian space. So I'm going to share my screen, and to solve this with AI, we are going to have to create our own agent. So a robot agent. It's basically an agent where you can basically program it with your own human language, natural language. You don't need coding experiences, but the complex the agent, then maybe that's when you need coding experience. But in this example, we're going to do with basic English. So as you can see, you'll see a button here showing Ask Rovo. Normally you would ask Rovo to do it, but you might find out the basic functionality of Rovo is not able to do it. Now you have to create your own agent. And as you can see, if you click this Rovo over here, you see a create button here, create agent. And normally, as you can see, it takes you here. And this is where you can prompt the agent to basically do what you ask it to require. So I already have a prompt here for Angela. We're going to read it together. Can I zoom? Just a second ago. Okay, so here it says you are an operational assistant that reviews my Google Calendar meeting for selected time window, summarizing each meeting attendees, purpose, generates a structure overview, and creates or updates the conference page with that information. So as you can see, we did conference page. We can take it a step further, maybe create Jira tickets, but in this example, we'll just update a conference page. And then, as you can see here, data source and permissions, Google Calendar, read the events and attendees in the list, Confluence, create or update a specific Confluence page, and if permissions are missing, clearly state what is required and proceed with what it is accessible. Keep in mind, Rovo only works with the permissions you have. If you require more permissions, you need to provide also permissions to that Rovo agent. Imports ask only if not provided, and only within the time frame of 7 days. You can actually extend it if you want, but I think for this example, 7 days is enough. Calendars can scan, default, primary, my calendar. Okay, so the primary is my calendar. Yeah, and then a space if you want to provide a space, but in this case, we made it generic. So I'm gonna upload this. The detail, the description, the quality your agent is. So if you want you can improve on it as time goes. You might find out that there's some minor issues that you want to work on. So cool. It says, I haven't specified a name for the agent based on your requirements. Suggest a name. So it says calendar to Confluence Assistant. Would you like to use the name? Okay, so we could use the name, or we could say something along the lines of maybe let's merge calendar to Confluence Assistant to, what should we call it? Maybe Confluence Assistant.
I think that's great. I think, T, this is a problem which you're solving because for us, time is critical. We are a support system network of which time of what we're doing becomes
Mhm.
critical and it becomes where we make money, and money is time. And so, how does this solve some of the problems for people that are in the service industry?
If you there's like repetitive tasks, then you can actually create an robot agent in order to solve that repetitive task. And then maybe if there's a schedule, then you can create an automation rule and associate that robot agent in that automation rule. If I'm not mistaken, Nicholas will basically present how to do the automation part. So right now, I will be showing you that in an agent, yeah, how to create an agent and how you can use it in your automation rules later on.
Awesome.
Okay, so we named it Confluence. So as you can see, it appears here. It has been named, and then it says great. We'll name it that, and then to refine some instruction, you provided a comprehensive set of instructions to enhance the agent communicates as you expected. Would you clarify the desired tone or response style? For example, should it be formal, concise, friendly, approachable? So let's do friendly typing. So we're gonna do this one, this option. Let's do friendly, approachable. Cool. And then it's gonna change on this side as well. Now let's move to the conversation starters. These are the typical questions or prompt a user might ask to begin the interacting with Confluent Assistant. So you can start with these or you can just type in the chat, but for now, this is perfect. Let's say this is perfect. These three will suffice for now. Then we are ready. So now it's just a matter of reviewing your agent. And here we are, we have the agent. But before we begin, we need to modify the main scenario. So this is what we've provided. And now we need to provide it a skill. And skills are basically integrations with other systems. You have your Trello, Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab. In this case, we're going to use Google Workspace. So as you can see, we have Google Calendar agent, we have create Google Calendar events, we have create Google Docs if you want, or send an email from Gmail if you want, and get Google Calendar events. I'm going to add those. And also, since we're dealing with Confluence, we need to provide those skills as well. It needs to be able to obviously create a page. So if I can find one, if it is an existing one, it needs to be able to edit. And pretty much that's all you need. Or maybe update page status or copy a page or if possible, create a folder or archive. Completely up to you. Or maybe a comment as well. And as you can see, you provided the skills. Now reactivate. Perfect. We have it activated. But as you can see, currently it's set to Rovo. You need to change this to your agent. And then you can either type your message or use the starting conversations. Can you summarize my meeting for this week? And as you can see, it has provided me a quick overview of what's going on in my calendar. So today is the 24th, and I have Atlassian team morning session stand-up, webinar, and Obsidian Atlassian exploring how AI transfer. Also, I have two. So if you look at my calendar for today, it is pretty much that, and that is correct. Back to my tab. It also can help you find out if there's any conflicts in your calendar, like clashing meetings and how you can go around it. So in this case, we are happy. We can say, please, let's say, please create a page based on that information. All right, did I go? There we go. I found an instance where I have the permissions. As you can see, it has provided me the same details because it's the same agent I have. And now it's thinking, it's analyzing, and now it's able to, yeah. Now I just need to provide the space. And then if I'm happy, I just publish and it'll create this page. Perfect. Then that solves your problem, Angela.
I think that is, for many at a high level, the last thing we want to do is keep worrying about what's in our diary, what is conflicting, how do we manage our time, what takes priority. And a lot of the time, I know I'm always saying, could this have been an email rather than a meeting? And I think this kind of an agent would help me sift through where should my time be prioritized. And as T was showing us, this is a suite of generative AI capabilities embedded across Atlassian's cloud products, such as Jira, such as Confluence, but can also integrate with the many add-ons as well as our calendars, which help us build efficiencies in our organization. So the complexity of coordinating teams, especially if you are in a work scenario where your teams are all over the place and globally, and this would be just so useful for me. So wake up in the morning, I can have a cup of coffee, I can see a summary of what I have in terms of meetings, where my priorities are, and if there's anything urgent that comes up, I can make sure that I can manage my conflicts in my calendar and my priority workflows, and really do that with the right information that's going to give me everything that I need. So T, thanks for that demo. Thanks for also showing us a little bit how this could really, really impact many people in terms of those priorities. So I'm super excited about that. So once I grab my coffee and I'm sitting in front of my desk and I'm getting ready to start looking at what is the work that I need to do today, how do I prioritize that work, and what's going to really help me be impactful in terms of an organization, because that's what we want to be as leaders, as managers, and also team participants. We all have to be part of the collective group. And that's what Atlassian is trying to build. So Tarun is going to show us something around building efficiencies around workflow using Rovo and understanding how we can speed up a project from an idea right out into how do we plan for it. So thank you, Tarun. Over to you.
Awesome. No, thanks so much, Angela, for that warm welcome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and focus a lot on how can Robo bring value to leadership and executives. And one of the biggest problems is there's multiple different projects running, and leadership doesn't have one singular place they can go to get summaries of what's happening in their organization. They normally have to create multiple meetings with different project managers and so on just to get simple updates that can be summarized and quickly added via AI. So just to show you how I've created this right here is, right here I have a simple Confluence page here. This summarizes all of the information within the mobile app Apollo project. So this Apollo project is right here within Jira itself. And as you can see, there's a lot of different epics. There's a lot of user stories within those epics. And all of those user stories have dependencies on other projects and so on. And for leadership to get a summary, quick client summary of what's actually happening, we can use robo agents. So in a similar way that Tisetso created that agent at the start, I created multiple agents that essentially looks at all of these different epics right here, and it creates me summaries of it. So I have two custom fields here. One of it is delivery confidence and leadership actions. So the delivery confidence, what does it do? It essentially looks for any blockers. Can we actually get this epic done in time? It looks at all of the stories under it, all of the subtasks, looks at dates of it, and gives us a quick line summary. Overall, if we look at this first epic right here, overall, the portfolio remains healthy with initiatives progressing towards user-centric enhancements. It also gives us leadership actions. So another agent that I created is leadership actions. What does leadership need to do in order to push this epic forward? If there's any blockers, what can they do to help out? So in this case here, we have leadership should ensure clear communication on a customization vision to all stakeholders. And it does this with all of the different epics. We can do it with multiple different projects. And essentially, all leaders will have to do is come into one simple Confluence page here, and they get AI summaries of how their project is doing. And just to give you a sneak peek of how I actually created that, it's via automations. So right here, I have it scheduled. So every single morning at 7 a.m., it's going to summarize it. It's going to look at all of the epics within this project. We're going to use a custom agent that I created, which is our executive portfolio advisor. And I'm just going to give it a simple prompt here. So it will use this prompt, give us the current delivery confidence as well as key risk or blockers. And right here, it will edit that custom field. And that same custom field, we're using it to report in Confluence. Okay, so that's our first use case. I'm going to go through two more quick ones. So our next one is, let's say if we're in a company and we have a brand new project that's coming along and we want to actually see how can we go from idea all the way down to execution and dishing out the work to your different project managers. So right here, I'm going to start a new project. I have this project Atlas I. It's essentially a system that protects our company's data by watching for risks and quickly responding to potential security breaches. But let's say from this list, I want to create a project plan, milestones, and the work items. And we can do that using Robo. So all I'm going to do is go into Confluence, give it a prompt, write 3 paragraphs about implementing a new system, and provide oversight on it. And what our Robo AI assistant in Confluence will do, will look at how we set up all previous project plans, and it will give us this whole project idea right here. So just from a simple prompt, we have this idea that uses all of our company's history and data of how we normally set up projects. But now let's take it a step further. Let's use that same project idea that's now set up And now I want to create an easy to follow project plan. So right here, I went once again in Rovo. I asked it to generate a structured and easy to follow project plan for Project Atlas I. And here Rovo will analyze it. Again, it will look through how we set it up in the past. And yeah, we have our project summary, project scope. We'll set up our key objectives, project phases, as well as give us a nice concise summary, scope, and milestones. And all of this here can once again be created within Confluence. And now let's take it even a step further. Now that we have our project plan and milestones, let's actually create our different epics for our teams. And that's what we're going to do here. So we have our project plan, and we're going to use the brief to create our different epics. So using that same project plan, Rovo will analyze it and divide it up into our different epics. And we can insert this into whichever project we want. It uses it. It's straight in line with what we actually had in our project summary. And all of this information can easily be embedded into those different projects. And we can take this many steps further. We can go from epic down, right down into story level. So now from our project idea, we already getting down into stories and subtasks. And all of this here can be generated using Rovo. Another example is using Rovo's deep research mode. So with big companies, usually there's data scattered across multiple different platforms. And for users to actually find the information is a task on its own. So right here, using deep research mode, I'm just going to give it a simple prompt. I want it to gather and synthesize customer feedback on VitaFleet from various different channels, identify common pain points and areas for product enhancements over the past year. Right here, deep research will use multiple different sources, all of which is connected to our Rovo, and it gives us a nice, easy to use Confluence page. And in this page here, we can see all executive summaries, frequently requested features, and conclusions. So right from there, we're able to get data from across multiple different sources in one singular place. So lastly, I'd like to end off with just quantifying the actual value of Rovo. If we look at a common problem, how long does it take to find a past decision, a risk discussion, a vendor agreement comment? If we look at this conservatively, it could take 10 to 15 minutes per day. And if employees in your company spend if they do this every single day, and if you have 200 employees, and if you do the quick maths on that day, that's around 13,000 hours per year, just searching for information. And if Rovo can simplify that by reducing it by 20%, that would be massive. And Rovo reduces the search friction. So as we've seen, it searches across Jira, Confluence, Loom, Slack, whatever connectors you connect to Rovo. And this is where the value multiplies. And if we just kind of look at how Rovo can save us. So with weekly reporting, if we can reduce this from 1,000 hours to 500 hours, and if we give a rate on all of those hours, we have a bunch of annual savings within time in your organization. Especially finding knowledge search, risk analysis, all of this data can be saved using Rovo.
Thanks, Tarun. I just did a quick poll, and everybody was talking a little bit about where the looking for data is. And maybe we just want to talk a little bit about Rovo and what makes it secure for enterprise. So as Tarun has mentioned before, it is not external, it is all your internal databases, right, Tarun, right, Nicholas, that we're searching. So it is pretty much your information that is secured down. So if there are any questions around that, please feel free. We can talk a little bit more around that as well. But I think just in terms of summarizing what Tarun has shown us now is that there is a wealth of knowledge in our knowledge bases, the work that has been done over and over again, some of the repetitive things that we are doing. It might be new ideas, but the principles and the processes are the same. So harness that information that you already have, harness it, put it to work, save that money on time, and get your staff and teams working on the real big stuff, important stuff, to start finding and navigating better and faster ways to get your projects out to market. So we're super excited about that. I think it saves us a lot of thinking time from having to start from scratch again, right? It's that mental load capacity we talked about previously. And all these agents that we are showing you today is all around taking that cognitive load off of your staff, your members, your team as management and leadership, and really focusing on the things that are going to bring forth the stuff that will give you the competitive edge in your market, that will give you innovative things or products that are really going to make a difference to your end user or client. So we're super excited about that. So, yep, I think the key thing there is these aren't standalone chatbots. What we are building in these chatbots are teammates that have the ability to understand the work so much faster, have the ability to scan multiple sources of information. So even if you are one team, the work from multiple teams don't have to be isolated. That work can automatically be shared via the chat box, and you start building those links and those dots and really getting your organization to work together. That is the power of the Atlassian Intelligence. So we're super, super excited about that. So a little bit more, as a manager of other teams, I am leading and want to make my team members able to bypass all the little nitty gritties, all the things that take time around admin. And let's face it, there are few people, maybe they're very, it's almost a calling. There's some special people that enjoy admin. I don't know. I'm going to do a quick poll here. Hands up if you go, I enjoy admin, because it's not me. And there have been many websites and many posts around, oh, we just hate this process of ticketing. Ticketing is probably the toughest thing that we talk about in terms of work. There are many, many places where people moan and groan about how we do this, but it is essential, as you can see from Tarun, that we roll up all the information data from the lower ends of the organization all the way up to get the good information. I don't like that adage, garbage in, garbage out, but it is a part of the way things are working in order for all these automations and these work processes to flow well with good information. We need that data at the source point. And Nicholas is going to show us how we can make it super easy, hopefully painless, and hopefully a little bit quicker to help people get there faster and have that great data that's going to roll up into some great high-level executive data that will inform decisions.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Nicholas.
Angela. I'm going to keep this super practical and short, but quickly setting the stage. AI is promised as this big revolution, but honestly, as Angela said, the best version of AI is one that just does the boring things for us. It does the admin and the sorting, and it does the dishes. So today I'm showing a tiny agent that basically does the dishes for a service desk. So I've got a small Rover agent proof of concept that when somebody logs a ticket in Jira, the automation agent asks one question: which team should own this? And it responds clearly. At scale, service desks don't really fail because people are lazy. They fail because everyone is busy context switching. Every misrouted ticket wastes time. Someone reads it, forwards it, and asks follow-up questions, and then the request awaits, and then everyone loses momentum. And this aims to just remove that whole bit of brain admin. And the funny part is, the requester always thinks they were clear initially. The goal here is fewer handoffs and less reading, and faster time to the right team. Today's demo is showing off an improvement to the employee experience, but this can be translated into customer experience. If you sell software, if you run service desk, if you run internal IT, HR facilities, it will use the same pattern. It's like emails. How many of us get emails that are clearly meant for somebody else, but it's the same pain, just through a different channel? This is not a giant implementation. It's intentionally small, and its design allows us to drop it into multiple workflows where the cognitive load is high. So here's the Jira automation that triggers on issue created. It asks the agent which project should own this, and it responds clearly with some JSON. In our example, we've described project routing for various internal tickets, but this can be expanded to understand any system and how it functions. The knowledge base can ingest Confluence documents or spreadsheets that all describe your workflows. So let's log a ticket like normal human beings. First, my laptop is broken, no apps are working. Oh. There we are. This is a perfect example because it's not technical, there's no device names, no error codes, no context, and this is what the service agent gets. Go to our audit log. It just ran. There we are. And the agent responds and comes back with a project key and mentions that this is an assets problem. Cool. It classifies this as an assets case. That means that the first person reading this doesn't have to do any triage. The system already has a best guess for where it belongs. Even if the AI is not perfect, removing 80% of the sorting effort is usually the win. Now let's do the same thing, but we get real life involved. So we've got another prompt. My laptop is broke. I smashed the screen while fighting with my manager. Listen, we've all been there. Maybe not smashing the screen, but definitely something has happened and now I'm stressed and I really just need help. And let's look what the agent does. It's in progress. Through a human triage model, this ticket might bounce around. It might first be picked up by assets because of laptop, but the bigger risk is the thing that needs attention first. So with one prompt, it prioritizes the ownership clearly to HR without having to read between the lines. And here's our agent. What does this do for a business, really? It reduces the mental effort for our teams. People spend less time interpreting and reading and routing, and it gives us faster time to action, since there's less time waiting for the right person to notice our tickets. Because the rules are well defined, there will be more consistent handling, especially when teams scale or you get new staff. And most importantly, a better experience for the requester, internal or external, because the system feels responsive. And it's not just limited to internal IT and HR. This same approach will work for finance queries, security incidents, facilities, or anything where you're sorting intake. And the key takeaway, as Angela said, is AI is most useful when it quietly removes our work, not when it does something flashy. If you're sitting here thinking we've got half a dozen processes that could use something similar, you're probably right. And the nice thing is we can start small and add these agents to our workflows at no additional cost in the Atlassian ecosystem with Rover. We're limited only by our imaginations. That's it from me. Thanks. Back to you, Angela.
Thanks, Nicholas. We wanted to put this in a quick summary and in a little tagline for you. And the one that came up most was AI doesn't replace your support agents, but it does give them superpowers. So we have superhero t-shirt logos for our staff because that's what we're doing. That's it from a demo perspective. We hope we've shown you a little bit of what is possible. And if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you in the Q&A. But maybe just to talk to a few things around how Atlassian Intelligence is great for enterprise and why it is. And some of those definitely is around the trust, privacy, and governance issues with AI. A lot of our clients are either in the fintech space or in retail space, and there's a lot of data in there that is obviously at high risk there. So what are the things that Atlassian does to ensure, and I open it up for the panel, but if you have any specific questions, what are some of the things that Rovo has security around? So I think one of the things that everyone has shown that it has access to a lot of information. However, that access is limited, right? That access has express permission. So there's no public information that we are utilizing. It's only internal. So I don't know if anybody wants to add from the panel as well around that, just to say that there is security and governance around that.
Sure,
Nicholas.
just to add to that. So, well, the nice thing about Rovo is it acts as you can on your Atlassian instance. So anything you as a user would be able to see, any Confluence page or projects, that's what you can query against Rovo. If there is a section that has some HR or finance details that you generally don't have access to, you won't be able to query it. But that's where Rovo becomes very powerful because it escalates based on the permissions you already have.
So there's security in that, and every agent is almost isolated within its area of expertise. So we love that about that. And so there is no high risk for your teams to be able to add on that team member, right? To get that additional help. Okay, so the other one, adoption tips, and how do we get started with any kind of AI? I think just principle wise, when we're talking about this, what are some tips that we have for our clients and for whom we work with? What are the things that we should really principally start? And I think Nicholas mentioned the first one in his last one. It's always a start small, right, guys? Tarun, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's always starting small, find small little use cases that can help, even small individual teams. Yeah. Maybe an agent that sends an email summary of what you're going to do today. So just starting small and building on that over time is always the best way.
Right. Thanks. Yes, and high friction workplace workflows where is a lot of things we don't want to change, as our CIO says or CTO says, we don't want to change the big things because that can cause many, many problems. But we certainly can change the small everyday things and keep building on those. As I guess it's like anything. It's a toddler learning to crawl or a baby learning to crawl. Then as a toddler, you're learning to walk. And hopefully we're going to get to that stage where we're starting to run a little bit faster. Love that metaphor for that. We have 3 more minutes. So if you have any other questions or if you just want to get in touch with us, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear how you are using all those different tools. Thank you for your participation in the polls today. We're going to have a look at that because it also is interesting to see what problems you're trying to solve and how our teams can help you better. Other than that, I just wanted to thank Tarun, and Nicholas for taking a chance and showing some really tough problems that they're trying to solve. Not all perfect the first time round, but we also want to open up and say, we're here to help you solve your problems as well. So give us a call as a team and we'd love to do that. Otherwise, please go to our website or follow us on LinkedIn or any of your favorite socials. We're around. And thank you very much for your time and participation in today. We wish you all a great day and hope that, yes, you'll be automating.